くぞジェノサイカッタ
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and in 2 more days we're going to be getting some upcoming DS characters. Not really sure who they're going to be. There's a lot of speculation out there as who they could be, but today I want to talk about the Sacred Treasure. I want to talk about Chizuru, Iori, and Kyo, and just how awesome of a team this is for a lot of different reasons, right? Whenever you take a look at Chizuru here, she has some amazing benefits whenever you have those 2 characters on the team. Whenever Iori and Kyo is on this team, she benefits tremendously from it, right? I mean, she actually gets, increased attack by 20% with Kyo, and she gets an increased critical damage by 50% when Iori is on the team. That is huge. And not only that, but whenever Iori is with Kyo, then Kyo actually gets an insane increased active skill damage by 20% when Iori is on the team. So it really makes it a big difference whenever you run through your active skills, whenever you're using Iori. So it's quite the synergy. That's actually pretty awesome that KOF has done this with these guys. Now, in my opinion, Iori kind of got screwed a little bit because he never really, they didn't give him something like that, right? Like, he's got the stun when Kyo was in the team, right? It's a good thing for PvP, but as far as increasing damage, like as far as PvE is concerned, they didn't really do nothing for Iori, which is kind of a shame. They really should have, because all 3 of these characters are godly in the KOF franchise. But what I want to show you guys today is something in Guild Raid and then also in Team Relay Dungeon. Now, in the Guild Raid, I actually did a little comparison for you guys. I pre-recorded a couple little videos for you so you could actually see something that might interest you quite a bit. Now, Chizuru is a character that I actually have at A3 completely for free, and on both of my accounts, on my free-to-play account and on my main account. I didn't spend $1, and I was able to get her to A3. Now, I did get a little lucky, to be fair. So a lot of players may be able to only get her to A2 more than likely. But on Lunatic, you do need Starlight, right? Well, there's 2 characters on this team that do have Starlight, which is pretty cool. I mean, you got Kyo here, and then you also have Chizuru. Now, Chizuru does have Starlight Explosion. She can actually remove it. So you got to be really careful on how you play the character. Her 3rd skill actually removes it, and it's also the skill with her Hyper Armor. But her 1st and her 2nd skill actually do have the Starlight. Her 2nd skill can actually increase damage whenever you have the Starlight applied. It's actually quite nice. And then she's got the Touch and Go skill with her 1st skill. The first time you hit it, you apply Starlight. Second time you hit it, you actually get Super Armor and a 25% chance to reset the skill. Now, I just got some regular strikers here. Just some strikers to really add survivability. I got SS Honoka for Kyo. I got K for Chizuru. He's just going to give some extra attack. And then I got Ash for a little heal for Iori. And I'm going to show you guys 2 different ways that I actually did this Guild Raid run. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up for you guys, and we'll just talk about it as we go. So on the left, what I'm doing is I'm doing a complete solo with Chizuru. And on the right, I'm actually using all 3 characters, splitting them up and just using their 3 PGs and their defaults, and just trying to see which one of these is actually better as far as accumulating the most damage. Now, to be fully transparent with all of you guys, when it comes to the team effort that I did on the right side, I didn't practice it a whole lot. I only tried it a few times, and I just kind of stuck with the score, right? I'm sure that you could probably improve and do better if you really wanted to. And by the way, on the team side, I do have Serena sets on both Kyo and Iori to really give them an increased attack whenever you're tagging in. Chizuru, I actually have the Chizuru Fest set in both sides, in the solo and on the team run for her. And by the way, guys, she's just godly for breaking that meter against Rugal, but she doesn't really have the greatest survivability, so having a good heal is really nice, especially if you're doing a solo with her. I'm actually using Athena for a heal, that 30% recovery. That makes a big difference for her. It really helps her survivability big time. You don't have to worry about her dying. I mean, 30% recovery heal, no matter how many times Rugal explodes, you're still going to be able to survive. And as you guys can see, at a minute 26, we got 84 million on the right side. And at a minute 26 with just Chizuru, we got 139 million. Right? I mean, it's 3 seconds difference, but you can see that Chizuru really all on her own is actually doing every bit as much damage, if not more, alone, without using the team effort. And either way you do this, you're going to get all the benefits from having all the Sacred Treasure together. Now, something else to note about Chizuru, just doing a solo by herself is you don't need SS Kyo and you don't need SS Iori for her to get those buffs. If you use a different version of Kyo other than Neskio, you're good to go. You'll get that buff for her, that extra 20% attack. If you use another version of Iori, other than Orochi Iori and Unshackled Iori, she'll still get that 50% increase to critical damage. That's also something else to know. So whenever you're doing the team effort here, it's a more expensive thing because you actually need 3 of those SS characters when you're doing it like the way that I'm doing it on the right side. But on the left side with a solo, you don't need the SS Kyo and SS Iori for her to get those buffs. So it's actually much cheaper, and the fact that she's a free character, it's actually much cheaper and easier to really just do a solo. 98 Athena is always available in the game. You'll always have that heal, and you can always use her. And that's kind of why I wanted you to see this. Because, you know, you guys can see the damage difference between using the team effort with 3 SS characters that you got to put a lot more investment in. You're leveling up a lot more imprint stones. You need more card sets. All of that stuff versus a solo on the left side with Shizuru, where you only need 1 card set. You only need 1 character. You can always use other versions of Kyo and Iori for her to get those buffs, which is a lot nicer, right? It's a lot nicer, right? But I'm going to show you guys something where it's actually a benefit to have all 3 of the SS characters as well. But really for me, at least against Lunatic, against Omega Rugal, I think you're really better off just to do solos with Shizuru, honestly. I mean, I'm sure if you worked out rotations, maybe it'd be better to have the team effort. If you time everything perfectly and you time all your 3 PGs perfectly, maybe you probably could get more damage out of doing it. But doing solos is much faster. Now, honestly, it's a lot easier with the right characters. It doesn't take as long, so if you're on time restraints, it's a lot easier. You don't have to put near as much investment because you're only using 1 character instead of investing into 3 separate characters. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to having characters that can just completely solo guild rates, right? I mean, this is a game mode that gives you some really, really good rewards. And look at how much faster, like look at the damage that Shizuru is at right now. She's almost done, right? We're at 500 million. 500 million, okay? We hit 506 million with 4 seconds to spare, okay? Now, look at the right side, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and speed it up just to save you guys a little bit of time. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the end here, right? Just kind of scream along here. And now look, okay? We're going to go ahead and let Iori do his little 3PG here. Gotta do 3PG, it's freaking awesome. Love it, love it, love it. It'd really been cool if the Sacred Treasure would have had all 3 of them in the 3 PGs. But as you guys can see, on the left side, we did a little bit more damage. Not a lot more, but a little bit more damage just with using a solo. Just with using Shizuru, who doesn't cost near as much because you're only leveling up 1 character. You're only leveling up imprint stones for 1 character. You only need 1 card set. So, I mean, judging from this, and again, maybe I could have got a better run on the right side if I would have practiced and changed up my rotations and all kinds of little goodies. But you can see, guys, that you're really probably just better off just leveling up 1 character. And definitely for a free-to-play player, it's much easier and much faster to do it that way, just using Shizuru, just using her in the leadership, and just having another, if you don't have SS Kyo and SS Iori, just have a different version of Kyo and Iori on the teams. And you'll be good to go. So now, let me show you a benefit of having all 3 of those characters. So we're actually going to jump in here and we're going to go against Team Relay Dungeon. That's right. And as I've said in previous videos, I think Immortal Rock's really the most difficult of them all. There's plenty of teams that can actually get this done. Red characters are absolutely godly against this thing, which Shizuru is, right? But here's some really awesome, some other amazing synergy between these characters. Since they're all SS characters, they all benefit from Iori's leadership. Now, his leadership is pretty valuable here because that extra 15% PG rate for characters that have 30% PG rate in her cores is actually pretty freaking massive. And then the increased attack by 50%. Now, Kyo, as I said in yesterday's video, does have a type disadvantage, but he's going to be applying an insane amount of burn, and Iori also has burn on his default. Now, the thing about this team is you got Starlight, which isn't really relevant in Immortal Dungeons, but it is relevant as far as like every Immortal Dungeon, like certain Immortal Dungeons, when you apply a certain dot and the dot removes that effect, actually can hurt you a little bit. For example, in this one here, if you have Burn Explosion up in the top here, you're actually hurting your damage. You just want to apply as much burn as possible on so it can carry over to the second team. Well, because she has Starlight, because Shizuru has Starlight, you never have to worry about in any of that in the Immortal Dungeons. Until we get a Starlight dungeon, you never, ever have to worry about that. And plus, the way Shizuru plays, you could actually keep Starlight up the entire time, as long as you do your Explosion skill, your third skill first, and then go into a skill afterwards that actually applies Starlight. So even then, she's still going to be pretty valuable there. But the other thing is you got darkness right here. You got burn, you got darkness, right? You got multitude of dot effects between these three characters amongst the synergy as far as them all buffing each other. And they all have 3 imprint stones on them. I'll show you guys the builds. They all have max capsules and they all have 3 imprint stones. Just quickly run through it. You have 3 imprint stones right here, just the SS stones. And then we're just running this Serena set, which isn't really optimal in all honesty when it comes to this. I mean, the Akane would actually be better here, but this is what I used, by the way, in that guild raid run that you guys saw. We even had the extra attack from tagging in here and the extra attack from tagging in here. I mean, this card here actually gives you an extra 10% additional attack whenever you're tagging in, and the extra attack by 5%. So, I mean, we were getting a lot more buffs also when we were doing all 3 of the characters in the guild raid run, whenever we were using all of them together, which once again shows how much better it is just to use Shizuru all on her own. And I'll show you Shizuru's build here really quick. She, of course, I got the Shizuru set, and then I'm also using her option card. All of these things that I got completely for free. And then as far as the imprint stones, I just have 3 Starlight stones, all increased attack. Now, you know, if you had defense and Starlight and defense, that would be fine as well, because she does have an attack based off of defense from her core. But this is more than enough, guys. You know, all attack, and then increase the defense fighter, and then Starlight damage. A lot of Starlight, which is really going to jump up her explosion. And then we have Kyo, who is set up a lot like Iori. I have 3 imprint stones on him, and then of course I got the Serena set on him, and again the Akane would have been better, and then they got the option card that increases critical damage. So I had a lot of buffs for these guys whenever I was using them in that team formation, when I was using them all together in Guild Raid. And then as imprint stones, 3 imprint stones right here, 3 max imprint stones. So let's see how well this team does, or how they fare against Immortal Rock. All right, so I got to do this again because unfortunately on my emulator, it just lags way too much. Even when I turn all the settings down, I turn the frame rates down, it just lags way too much. I lose way too much damage, especially compared to a decent device like my phones. So I actually had to stop making my video, pre-record a gameplay recording for you guys, so that way you could actually see what it really looks like when these guys are actually teamed up together. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up right now. And this is actually recorded on my iPhone, guys. Such a pain in the butt, man. I had to stop recording that video and then started recording this one here. Oh, man, what a pain in the butt. But as you guys will see, the synergy between these characters in something like Immortal Dungeons is actually pretty freaking nuts. It's pretty damn awesome. Because, on my phone, guys, like look how fast everything's going on. Look at how fast I can run through my skills, cancel. There's no delays. There's nothing like that. And it just makes a big difference, man. You know, those of you that are on a device that's a little bit slow, lags a little bit, is old, worn out, it's going to be harder for you to get good scores. But guys, like this team is OP, and they're going to be OP for a lot of Immortal Dungeons. I mean, think about it. Immortal Nyx, you need darkness. Iori's got darkness, you need explosion also. Shizuru's got explosion. So this team is going to be godly for Immortal Nyx. It's going to be godly. You're not going to remove the darkness because Iori doesn't have darkness explosion, right? But you're still going to get explosion from Shizuru, right? You can still use this character for Immortal Typhon, even though you're not going to have an ice element. You could always put Zhong Fei cards on one of the characters to apply a bunch of chill, because all you need to do is increase your critical rate to apply a bunch of chill. I mean, this team is actually freaking OP. And in this respect, and even in Spider Robot, guys, you know, if you have all these guys in Spider Robot, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to be benefiting from each other, except for Iori. Iori's just giving them the extra buffs, but, you know, his long 3PG here and having the darkness will help in other game modes. But they all just kind of benefit from each other. The synergy between these characters is godly. It's actually really, really good. And look at them go, guys. I mean, these are all A3 characters, and I know it's a lot of investment, but we're at a point in the game where you're gonna end up having 3 SS characters leveled up no matter what. And I'm not saying this is the best team for Immortal Rock. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're godly, and I'm saying that for a lot of the Immortal Dungeons, they're going to be godly. They're going to do amazing. Like, against Immortal Victor, they're going to be godly. Even though they don't have bleed, they're going to build their PG so fast. They're going to do so much damage that I bet you anything, they'll still solo that damn thing. One team, just like they will here. Spoiler alert, right? If you're playing against Immortal Nyx, I bet you anything they're going to solo that thing. Immortal Typhon, I bet you they're going to solo it. They're probably going to solo every single one of them because they all, like, there's always going to be two characters that won't have a disadvantage against a certain Immortal Nyx. Or not Immortal Nyx, but Immortal Dungeon. Immortal Nyx, it doesn't matter what color they are, right? He doesn't have a color, so it doesn't matter what color your characters are that you're putting in against him, so it doesn't really matter. Immortal Rock's a green, so obviously red's going to have a type advantage against him. I mean, they're just going to be like, and a lot of the Immortal Dungeons, you know, one of these characters is going to have a type advantage against the boss, right? Against Immortal Most, you need a yellow to have a type advantage. Kyo's going to have a type advantage. You're going to need Explosion to stun the boss. Shazuru's got Explosion. I mean, it's OP. Plus, you got Burn with Kyo. I mean, you got there's a lot going on here, and the synergy amongst these characters is godly. Look at the damage they put up. Look at that damage they're putting up, right? In this amount of time. Look at that. 500 million, and I got 28 seconds to spare with one team. Against the most difficult Immortal Dungeon of them all. That is godly, my friends. That is godly. Just ridiculous. Now, I know what this means is that all of you are going to be thinking, man, I'm going to try to get SSQ. I'm going to try to get SS Iori and whatever so I can have this synergy. Because when it comes to Immortal Dungeons, you are going to want all the SS versions of these characters. I mean, you could put Kyo in the leadership and he just busts up all SS fighters by 60%, but he doesn't give a PG rate leadership. Right? It's just, I mean, there's different ways you can even do this if you want. It's just godly, right? It's just insane how well this team can get it done. In Guild Raid against Mega Rugal, you definitely saw that. I feel that Shizuru is just a lot better just doing solos against Guild Raid. It doesn't take as much time to do it. It's a lot easier to do it, especially if you have a healing striker. But against the Immortal Dungeons, you know, you do need multiple characters. And against the Spider Robot, you would need all three of them, right? And to have all these SS characters right here, these three right here, and all of them getting all these massive buffs from each other, except for Iori, of course, is godly. Like, the Sacred Treasure gets it done, man. They freaking absolutely get it done. And I will be doing other videos with other Immortal Dungeons with the Sacred Treasure to see how well they perform. I mean, you saw that run. They did it with almost 30 seconds to spare. One team. That is just crazy. So let me know what y'all think about the Sacred Treasure getting it done. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.